policing the police every single day, and doing what the Charlotte County Sun newspaper and local TV stations won't do every single day.
Well, tonight, checkpoints are now in place to keep visitors out of the Florida Keys. And unless you have proof that you live or work in the Keys, you will be turned around at those checkpoints.
CBS 4's Ted Scouten is live in Monroe County with the latest on this story. Ted.
Well, Rudabeh and Jim, if you don't live in the Florida Keys or don't work here, don't come. That's the message, at least for now. Right now, we're standing in front of one of the two checkpoints that is set up to turn around visitors. This one is on the county line on the 18-mile stretch. The other is on Card Sound Road. The Florida Keys closed to visitors. Checkpoints are set up to make sure if you don't live and work there, you don't get in.
We've set up a checkpoint here so that we can enforce our message that as much as we love to welcome visitors, this is not the time.
Monroe County Mayor Heather Carruthers said turning around visitors is important in the effort to stop the spread of the coronavirus. She tells us it's not easy to turn people away who are looking for a slice of paradise.
Absolutely, it was a difficult decision for us to make. I mean, it's not our nature as folks in the Keys. You know, our motto is come as you are. So, you know, now we're saying come as you are a little later.
I mean, I think it's great. Honestly, with all this crap going on with the coronavirus, we can't have people coming in and infecting everybody. It's just not good. You know, it's not safe for us personally in the Keys.
Many who live here like the idea of keeping outsiders away for now. They're especially grateful when they head to the grocery store or when they're looking for provisions for their families.
It prevents, there's been a lot of people coming down from Miami and up in that area and buying product down here, and then the people that live here can't get what they need.
And visitors are staying away. It's rare to see Duval Street completely empty, to find no cars on the road in Key West. Boats are docked with no tourists looking for a fishing adventure or sunset cruise. People who live here know that's a big economic hit that comes with a hefty price tag.
It's going to put a hurting on the Keys money-wise, but everybody has to get healthy first. Money don't mean anything if you're dead.
You're looking at a live picture now of that checkpoint here on the 18-mile stretch. What's going on here is the officers speak to whoever's in the car. If they're able to go into the Keys, they're flagged on forward. Otherwise, they have to turn around and return to the mainland over to Florida City. Now, these checkpoints will operate 24 hours a day until further notice. However, officials here in the Keys say that they will be reevaluating each day. Live on the 18-mile stretch, Ted Scouten, CBS 4 News.
The News4Jax team is tracking your concerns, from the changes to vacation rentals to the worries of students who say that they still have to go to class during all this. We begin with reporter Eric Avanier tracking the restrictions going into effect at the state line. Governor Ron DeSantis has set up checkpoints for anyone driving from a COVID-19 hotspot, a definition that he recently expanded to include Louisiana. And Eric is joining us now live from the TA Travel Center off I-10 in Baldwin, where, Eric, I understand you've been looking for some travelers from Louisiana.
Yes, I have been looking, but I did not find any travelers from the Bayou State this deep into Florida along I-10. However, I did run into several travelers from other parts of the country who had mixed reactions to the governor's executive order. Now, as you may already know, the governor is now demanding that all visitors from outside the state who come from COVID-19 hotspots to self-quarantine for a period of 14 days from the time they arrived in Florida. One of those hotspots is Louisiana, where there is now more than 2,700 cases of coronavirus with more than 100 coronavirus deaths. This is why the governor has announced that he is going to establish checkpoints along I-10 in the Florida Panhandle near the Alabama border. Travelers we spoke with from other states had just learned about this order when we told them.
I mean, luckily we're not from there, I guess. You know, we're coming from Ohio. We're going down to stay with my parents. So Ohio's pretty bad itself. We're just hoping to kind of get down here and hopefully get away from everything.
But do you think that's going to be effective? Do you think that people coming from those states are really going to actually self-quarantine?
I don't really know. You hope that it's going to be effective, but I don't know.
It's a good idea because New York's hit hard.
What about New Orleans, though, coming in off I-10?
I've never really heard much about them, to be honest with you.
Of course, only time will tell if that new executive order will, in fact, slow down the spread of COVID-19 here in Florida. Reporting live, Eric Avignon, Channel 4, the local station.
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is telling people from other states, especially hard-hit Louisiana, to stay away from Florida. The Panhandle has relatively low coronavirus numbers compared to the rest of the state, and the governor wants to keep it that way by setting up checkpoints. News 5's Cody Long is live tonight along I-10 with more on the governor's plan. Cody?
Yeah, Peter, very soon we'll see checkpoints all over the Florida border as they monitor drivers coming into the Sunshine State. Governor Ron DeSantis says he's trying to stop drivers who are coming from COVID-19 hotspots.
I think it's a good idea.
Yeah. Why do you think it's
a good idea? Because it's just going to keep spreading.
The governor named Louisiana as a place to watch since it's close by and has quickly become a hotspot. Madison Roach and her family are from Louisiana.
I'm not angry. Some people would take it offensively.
They just traveled to Pensacola a couple hours after the governor's announcement.
We probably think you should follow the directions of your state and local officials, and if they're telling you to shelter in place, then do that, but don't come here.
This will not apply to truck drivers and other commercial vehicles. The governor said people with certain license plates may be diverted.
I know what he's trying to do, you know, and I don't blame him. But at the same time, I mean, gosh, man, you got the whole world in the scares, you know? Live life, guys.
Edward Escamilla drove from California through Texas, then here to Florida. He said he's glad he made it here before the checkpoints to see his family.
It would be kind of sad if, you know, if it's out of the short notice for people who are actually on the road and like say myself and just I happen to be at the wrong time, like, oh my God, what am I going to do now?
And the governor did not say exactly where or when these checkpoints will be in place. Live in Pensacola, I'm Cody Long, WKRG News 5.
Breaking news out of Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis telling people from other parts of the country to stay away from the Sunshine State.
In the Panhandle, coronavirus numbers are relatively low, and the governor wants to keep it that way by setting up checkpoints specifically to keep people from Louisiana out.
News 5's Cody Long is live along I-10, one of the busiest entrances into the state of Florida, with more on today's announcement. Cody?
Yeah, Devin, soon you'll see checkpoints all across the border as they monitor drivers that are coming into the state of Florida. Governor Ron DeSantis made this announcement in his Friday briefing. The governor says they're trying to stop those travelers coming from nearby COVID-19 hotspots like the state of Louisiana. He was not clear on the exact plans for these checkpoints, but did say that people with certain license plates may be diverted.
You're coming from one of the epicenters. We probably think you should follow the directions of your state and local officials, and if they're telling you to shelter in place, then do that, but don't come here because we're trying to protect our folks.
And commercial vehicles will still be allowed to move freely, and any new vacation rentals in the state of Florida will be suspended for the next 2 weeks. Reporting live from the Florida-Alabama state line, I'm Cody Long, WKRG News 5.
suspected of having the virus. Now, cases in Florida also continue to climb, and now the governor is ordering checkpoints across the state line. More than 3,700 cases are in the state. News 5's Debbie Williams is at one of the checkpoints on the Florida-Alabama state line with the latest.
Heading into Florida on I-10 and the eastbound lanes, well, it's going to be a different kind of welcome, especially if you're from Louisiana. This is the way station just across the state line from Alabama. Florida Department of Transportation, Florida Highway Patrol working traffic control for the Florida Department of Public Health, who are screening anyone from Louisiana or any other area designated a hotspot for the coronavirus. 2 tents set up here in the parking lot where passenger vehicles are asked a couple of questions. They are instructed to self-isolate for 14 days, and then they are registered in a state database so health officials can follow up with them at a later date. Commercial vehicles are not affected. This checkpoint set up today about noon. We're also told that on I-95 in Florida, they are also setting up checkpoints for folks who may be traveling to Florida from New York. Reporting from Florida, just across the state line, Debbie Williams, WKRG News 5.
With Florida enacting border.
Governor announced today the creation of a I-95 checkpoint on the Florida-Georgia border. It's to screen drivers traveling from the New York City area. The announcement follows on the heels of yesterday's decision to set up a similar checkpoint in Northwest Florida, targeting travelers from Louisiana. News4JAX reporter Maggie Lorenz has been heading up our travel coverage today, keeping an eye on airports and the interstate checkpoints. Maggie.
Janice, the I-95 checkpoint is an extension of the screenings already happening across Florida's major airports like here at JIA. These screenings are mostly targeting people from the tri-state area near New York City, which of course is a hotspot for COVID-19. Florida is working to set up more highway checkpoints to deter travelers, mostly from New York. The governor says the I-95 checkpoint will be similar to the one on I-10. That one is meant to discourage travel from Louisiana, which is another hotspot.
Initially was concerned about doing this because I don't want there to be a backup, but they're doing it in a great way where the trucks are going through. We're not worried about that. We're just worried about the people fleeing some of those areas.
To deter travel from New York, the Florida National Guard and public health officials have been screening travelers on flights coming into Florida's major airports. JIA was a ghost town when we went by today.
I'm just going to go with the flow.
This family we talked with says they're not too worried right now about air travel.
And I think the governor's doing a great job here.
So I think as long as I'm clean, I wash my hands and don't touch everything, I think I'll be good.
Perfect. When asked about other access points for drivers like US 1 and the Amtrak train, DeSantis said that I-95 is the natural route for drivers coming from the Northeast. Reporting live from JIA, I'm Maggie Lorenz, Channel 4, the local station.
Hey Youre County, this is Youre County COPWATCH. I am using any video here with under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube, and there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.